issues. And it was pretty decent speed. I was amazed at how fast and reliable it actually was.
Yes, 4G is fine. It's nice technology.
Too bad Germany doesn't have it.
Well, no. It's like if you're lucky enough to live near a base station, then it's cool. Like I think the first 3 weeks when we lived in this apartment, we were waiting for our like real internet connection, and we were using like just mobile stuff, and the base station for the ISP is like right opposite to us on the next building. So that worked really well, like no problems at all. And I think it actually might have worked better than our real internet when it came in. But it was expensive. Like the plans are not like unlimited data doesn't really exist. So.
No, I think it's forbidden in Italy at least. So 4G they can offer you a lot of gigabytes, but no unlimited by law.
Yeah. I actually don't know if it's law here or just business, but the end result is the same. Like,
Yeah.
not really feasible.
It kind of feels weird to talk to you guys and hear Hex Mix. Bring some memories back.
Long time ago. 2004.
Oh, yeah.
It feels like it was a couple of years ago. It was 16 years
I
ago.
can't believe it's so old. I think I commented this even on Poet, like, and even that was probably 5 years ago. That I cannot believe that's so old already.
Yeah, the fun part is that my son is born in 2010, and I basically skipped 10 years in a blink. So everything that happened from 2010 up to now, I kind of watched the demoscene from outside, but it felt like 1 year compared to the rest of my demoscene life.
I need to be aware of that. You do know that I have a little kid now. It's 1 year old.
Yeah, I do know.
Yeah, so it's like it's been interesting to keep up with the other stuff with life and have the kid at the same time.
Yeah, priorities. Do you still have rabbits?
I have one rabbit. One of them died, but I still have one.
Oh, okay. So because we used to have 2 rabbits, then they became 1, and now we have guinea pigs. Because small animals.
Smaller the better. Less stuff to deal with. I'm gonna spam that we are live. Should probably spam on Facebook as well.
Spam. Oh, let me spam as well.
Spam.
Might as well.
In retrospect, I shouldn't have played X-Mix now on the pre-show because it's 10 minutes long, so it will take all of the pre-show just to play X-Mix. I probably should have played something else. But well.
Okay. Copy link.
But then again, it's not like everyone hadn't seen this already, so
Yeah.
probably one of the most well-known in the bunch.
We could do like 3 shows with full MFX demos and still have a lot of stuff to show. It's just so many demos and different things that it's ridiculous. I think probably if you have all the playtime, it's over like 5 hours of material from MFX alone.
Yeah. They're including also the wild entries from Nosfe.
Well, but those are really short, usually.
But I guess there's a lot of them.
There are quite a few, yeah.
Yeah, I was actually surprised that on the list there was one which I don't even remember ever seeing before. Like, I was like,
which one?
Oh, there's a lot of stuff. Well, I won't reveal it yet. I'll say it. I'll say it when we get there, if we get there.
Okay. Break. When did you join MFX?
I think last winter. I think I'm probably the most recent.
Really? I thought you were already long time part of MFX.
No, I mean I've been hanging out with the guys, but no, I think Nico can confirm this. I think we were both very drunk, but I think this happened. Yeah, maybe like a year ago, maybe something like that.
The MFX has had hang-around members for years, so it's the boundary between members and non-members is actually described by releases.
If
There
you
are
finally
actually a
release
lot of-
something under MFX, you are now officially a member.
It's
Isn't
like
isn't that kind of like every group nowadays in the demo scene?
yeah,
actually?
it's like 5711.
Yeah.
That night at Breakpoint when we woke up and we found out that we joined 5711 at some point.
Man, the Twitch stream is delayed.
Yeah,
There's
that's
like
that's
1 minute delay on.
that's
on my
completely
phone.
normal, and that's why we watch stuff on the Watch Together instead of the Twitch stuff. Otherwise, you would be
Yeah.
commenting in the past, which would be bad.
Ah, you have your stuff together.
I
I'm
think
sure
I've
it's
been
learning from
doing
experience.
I've been doing Mystery Demo Scene Theater for 5 years now, I think. Which
Okay.
really seems ridiculous because it seems like I started it last year. But I'm already on season 5 and I do one season per year. So it is
Yeah.
5 years.
Oh,
So you're basically like a BBC drama.
BBC drama. You know, the original name comes from that, I don't know if you guys know it, Mystery Science Theater 3000. Yeah.
Yes,
so-
I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge fan of that.
Yeah,
show.
so the original name comes from. I didn't know the name, but Urs told me when I was explaining the concept of the thing. He insisted that this was the name for our show. It would be Mystery Demo Scene Theater 3000. I'm like, no, I'm from Topolm. It needs to be 9000 to be coherent with the Topolm legacy.
You could have also gone the like Beavis and Butthead approach and just called this like Beavis and Beathead or something. I mean, basically, Mystery Science Theater 3000 is the same as Beavis and Butthead, but for movies.
That is correct.
I used to watch a
No.
lot of Beavis and Butthead, just them commenting
did
on the music videos.
Who didn't?
Yeah, I don't know. Nice show.
People who didn't have MTV, I guess.
or TV itself.
Talking about MTV, this was highly inspired by some videos that used to show in the 90s, I guess.
You mean the X-Mix?
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't think they ever did it to the MTV, at least in Italy. I remember the VHS tape.
Was
But
that actually VHS stuff?
yeah,
Yeah.
I used to.
I don't remember ever getting any VHSs of this, so maybe either they didn't come to Portugal or I was too outside of the rave scene in Portugal to, at the time, to get any of these.
They were at least available in Finland, and the MTV Europe did play some like clips of X-Mix in the Party Zone.
Yes,
Show.
yes, I can confirm this. Not like the entire tapes, but they did play some parts of them. Yeah.
I remember
this.
seeing the Party Zone, so yeah. That's where
Was
I...
it- Was it was it that MTV show where they kind of danced all time? There were like people
No.
dancing around pools or something.
No, that was the
that was
MTV
the-
Grind.
Oh yeah,
Slightly
right.
different.
You're right. You're
Also,
right.
slightly different music.
Yeah,
from what
it's
I can
like
remember.
correct. That's like 20 years ago. I have no idea.
Yeah, yeah.
That was
Party Zone
grind. You're
was-
right.
Party Zone was just dance music and techno late at night on Fridays.
Yeah.
with, like, a
It's a
under
late night
DJ.
show.
Yeah.
But actually, sometimes they did have some like footage from some raves and some interviews. But I think they kind of phased those out because I remember like towards the end when I was watching it, there was very little of that, or maybe not at all. But I do remember there's even like the clip of like Aphex Twin being interviewed in the show and stuff like that. So.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
there,
don't
there,
think
there was some of that.
I don't think it was in Italy. It was not shown, or maybe it was very late night, like 1 a.m. or something.
We have a comment on the chat saying the MTV Party Zone showed Hard Floor Roar from X-Mix 3. Hard Floor,
There you go.
legendary on the rave scene.
Fair enough.
Damn, that was a long time ago.
Oh yes.
Hard
I
to
mean,
remember any of that.
It was
Oh,
VHS. But I think the
Yeah,
VHS, you could find the VHS on Amazon, I think, 10 years ago. And maybe some of them are still there, either or in eBay, maybe.
To be honest, X-Mix was not. It was more like a homage to the 3Lux videos, which featured a lot more like 3D stuff than the X-Mix videos.
Yeah, of course. The 3D has to have some certain.
I thought it was an homage
aspects
to
to it.
Usher's lasers. I heard that on the grapevine. This was the
No,
only
it was-
reason.
No,
Only
it was
reason you
just
created
lasers.
X-Mix was because of Usher. I saw that
Well,
on a
you mean
WoW
the-
demo
the-
entry, so it
the
must
end,
be true.
the end scene.
No, it was because lasers are fucking cool.
Especially coming out of dolphins.
Yep.
Military trained dolphins, most certainly.
Yeah.
There was actually some
sense.
covert plans of some actual military institutions training dolphins to do these kind of spy missions and deploy mines and stuff like that and gather intel. So it was really interesting. Interesting animal abuse.
Yeah,
The-
like
There's a comment on the chat asking, like, I wonder what the MFX would like to say to the newcomers of the demo scene, and I guess do whatever makes you happy.
Oh,
whatever that is.
Yeah.
Indeed.
It's been working for me so far, so good recommendation. So, question, is this little bar on the top left of within minutes supposed to be there? Because I think it's not supposed to be there.
Totally not.
Yeah,
Let's-
so it's a bad capture.
Yeah, this is captured from I think the Windows version that had at some point some bug like this.
Was this one of the demos that were open source and people started doing ports of it?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
by the
think
way,
that-
this was the demo I mentioned, which I never saw before I saw this list. For some reason, I had totally missed this.
Oh my
Or
god,
just
really?
forgotten about it, but I kind of think that I never saw this before.
For me, this was such a classic. Like, I used to play this and like totally hypnotic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got into it. I was like, yeah, that was my thinking. Why haven't I ever seen this? Maybe it just didn't work on my PC, or maybe there wasn't like a decent capture afterwards. But
I think
To
it's
me-
mostly Nico's brainchild. It's Nico's graphics and music, right?
It has
yeah,
Povray,
all the
so it
visuals
must be
are-
Nico.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
all the visuals are done with Povray. And like soundtrack was, I think, if I remember correctly, it was based on a pattern that 1 in 10 did, which I then made into a full track for the demo. And this was actually the first demo that we did that had the music by me.
Really?
First Detroit, like, yeah, must be.
Yeah.
I would
I
think
think
you
before-
had
before these-
done music before.
No,
he-
we did do music before, like music discs and stuff like that, but all of the demo soundtracks before these were by
What?
other people.
Yeah,
Okay.
1 in 10. Mostly, I think.
Mostly 1 in 10, and then there was Manticore did the soundtrack for Vihreät Lehmät.
All right. On Poet, it says that Virrat Limat, you did the music for it.
No, I didn't.
It says so on the internet. You're saying the internet is wrong?
Yes.
Yeah, it probably is.
Probably is.
totally the first time this has ever happened.
You saw it first. So,
Not very-
what are your favorite MFX demos? There are a lot of MFX demos. So, can you
Ooh.
name drop a few that are like? Don't name like 1995 and like the 80s or either like the big famous ones. Try to find like a niche one. Can you name one? Or is that too hard?
I have no ideas. They all have a story. So it's hard for me to take one as a favorite. looking at the at the list actually, because
Third booth. I want to hear the story of third booth, because when I saw that for the first time, I was like, what the fuck are they doing with this? This is awesome in a very weird way. And then I
There
remember
are
talking with
stories.
Nico about it, and he's like, no, it's just dead horses and weird stuff happening. Where did the inspiration come from? I don't know. We just decided that we like dead horses. Okay, obviously.
Yeah,
That makes
Yeah,
complete
but-
sense.
Yeah, there's a couple of interesting anecdotes about third booth. What it was the third demo that I ever programmed, so I didn't know shit about anything. But I wanted to make something that looked like the classic MFX artsy fartsy shit, but in OpenGL. Now, any artsy fartsy piece of shit needs some sort of profound concept or message, and I think I was having coffee at Malfunction's place, and if I remember correctly, I actually didn't have functioning internet at that time, and I needed some stuff for the demo. So we started, well, not Googling because Google wasn't a thing back then, but searching for things
Ask
on the
Jeeves.
internet.
Alta Vista.
I think it started
Alta Vista.
Has to be
probably on Alta Vista, and I just wrote something like dead horses to the search window.
Because of
It took-
course.
Who
Yeah,
doesn't?
it took me to a Gopher site. I actually found pictures of dead horses on a fucking Gopher site.
Perfect.
This is old internet. So then we just put the pictures there and kind of like, yeah, this is fucking art. Okay, that's fine.
It's art.
But the other funny thing about that demo was that it was released at Mecha Symposium 2001. And
Yes, it was.
we were having beers, and there was an announcement that could like MFX guys come to the Orga team. And,
Your demo is broken.
I'm laughing already.
I went to the organizer team, met with KB there. He sat me in front of a computer, gave me headphones, put the demo playing, and like, is this supposed to look like this? I was kind of like, yeah, it's an MFX demo, and I left. Maybe they thought that the weird aspect ratio was like
Yeah,
somehow messed
it
up
had
or
a very
somehow.
weird aspect ratio. That's true.
I think he also commented about the music.
Yeah, because
is
it was
this supposed
completely
to sound
fucked.
like that.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
everything about it.
It's art.
Yeah, I mean, well, it was one of those. Let's try to make something that looks like it was made by MFX 4 years earlier.
Was it the same compo where Urination was? It was a demo, I think, was from by Mako, perhaps. Can't remember.
Wasn't it a 64K?
No, it was a demo. It was called Urination. It basically was very fast-paced, loud, black and white demo, and I think it was played right before Booth. And
There was Urination, got 11th place. There was
Yeah.
at that compo.
wasn't or was?
Was at the
Oh,
same compo.
yeah, because I remember seeing Urination, and I think it was Macau, and he was very proud of doing this.
They had posters and everything. I remember that.
Yeah, but the posters were cute. Can you remember that? They had these posters about this kid
What?
called Yuri in a grass field, being very cute and colorful, and the demo was black and white and very in your face, and he was very proud of his kinda trick. And then Booth came, and I think it was overwhelming.
Okay, anyways, it's 8 o'clock, so welcome everybody to Mystery Demoscene Theater 9000 Season 5 episode, whatever the hell this is. I have with me today some MFX members. Uncle X, I think it's one of the founding members of MFX, correct me if I'm wrong. Dixon, a very long member of MFX as well, and Break, which is probably the most recent MFX member. Please also correct me if I'm wrong. and we'll be playing a few demos from the early MFX stuff, and then we'll be taking a look at 2020 demos, which feature a lot of MFX things. So to get things rolling, I'm playing you Transgression 2 by MFX, released originally at EULA 96, got third place there. It's a 64K, and it was a bit famous at the time for ray marching or ray tracing shenanigans that it had with interlaced and stuff like that. This was not the first MFX release though. Can you tell us a little bit about the beginnings of MFX, how it got started, and where the idea came to do this kind of stuff? I guess Uncle X, you're the best person to ask.
Well, I mean, this was the fourth or fifth release from MFX. The group was founded around 94, 93, 94 by 216 and 1 in 10, who were friends since childhood. And I was studying in school, in the same school with 1 in 10. Around that time, he kind of introduced me to the demoscene and all of that basic stuff. And we just started hanging out together, doing computery stuff. Decided after Assembly 94 that maybe we should also try to make demos. We did one. It was horrible crap, released outside of parties, called Remix.
Oh.
After that, for Assembly 95, we made another
Digital Sonic
demo. Digital Sonic, yeah, which was also pretty crap. But while we were making these more traditional demos, 216 was also working on a real-time ray tracer, because that was kind of like his passion back then. Like, it was a pretty impossible thing to do, like real-time ray tracing on a 486, and he kind of wanted to challenge himself to see if he can actually pull that off. And he managed to do that. We released Transgression 1 at the Aggressive 2 party in December 95, which was held in Helsinki at the same time as the Party 95 in Denmark.
This is a really smart thing to do, concurrent demo parties.
Yeah, well, that was the Atari scene party. It was organized by Atari sceners, so... but yeah, we were pretty happy with Transgression, but we didn't have time to add all the cool stuff we wanted to it. So we didn't have volumetrics, we didn't have cylinders, we only had spheres in Transgression. So for Transgression 2, which was released a couple of months later, 216 made the volumetric rendering and cylinders, which let us do the stuff that you're seeing on screen right now, or actually were seeing, because I've been talking so long that the demo ended. There would have been some other interesting anecdotes about this, but maybe next time when we see this demo.
On the next MFX special. Well, next one we have lined up is Gamma, which was released in 97. Also features some sort of ray tracing, but it's interesting to compare the ray tracing that was happening back then in 320 by 200 with interlaced and a lot of blurring and stuff, with the stuff that you can do nowadays in like full HD and graphics cards and stuff like that. Like, people don't really understand how hard in terms of computing power this was to pull out at the time, and this MFX demos were really like a benchmark of ray tracing stuff, like in real time, even with all the fakeness going on.
Yeah, I think with Transgression 2, we kind of perfected the real-time ray tracing as it was back in like the mid-90s, but the problem was that everything had to move very slowly, because we were tracing only a couple of rays per frame, and if things moved quickly, it went to shit. So the challenge with the Gamma was kind of like, can we make a real-time ray tracing demo that's also up-tempo and like a rave demo or intro? And that's basically the concept for this. Also, we had, especially I had back then, a really weird fetish towards lens flares. So from
a healthy fetish,
A
healthy fetish for lens flares. They're so easy to pull off. You have to have them.
I mean, back then on like DOS PCs, also that wasn't like a given easy thing to do. So, but yeah, that was basically the thing for like this. This intro was like, can we make real-time ray tracing like super up tempo? And I think people were complaining about this, that this required 166 megahertz Pentium to run properly, while Transgression was able to be run on a 486.
Yep, I think the big discussion was that rumors were that this was so fake that it actually wasn't ray tracing, and especially all the other groups trying ray tracing back then, running at, I don't know, 12 FPS at best, then crashed into Gamma and said, how is this even possible?
Yeah.
I remember being one of the guys, like,
Well, that
it dropped my jaw big time.
that's 2 and 6 for you.
Yeah.
This was the follow-up, Gamma 2. I really have great memories of this one. It had such an introspective feeling to it, and like this weird emotion with the melody, that it really became so hypnotizing. So for me, it's one of the most memorable early MFX stuff.
I like the funky soundtrack. It's a bit of a change of pace from the previous ones.
Yeah, I was so in love with the rave one that when these came out with the kind of shuffle beat, I was rather disappointed at first. Then it grew up on me, but at my first experience with these was like, what's up with the music? Because I was expecting something up tempo.
It's so great. Like, these pads are so awesome. I really loved it when it came out.
Also, I like the puddle meta puddle effect. That's kind of weird.
Yeah, the thing here was that the ray tracer was like super high res, but we couldn't do shadows for some reason. So this is in a way the most fake of all the real-time ray tracers we've done, because it wasn't actually tracing the shadows. The soundtrack here was this was actually Little Richard's first soundtrack for an MFX demo. So we had me and Malfunction, we had been working in the same company back in like late or during '97, and we met there this one guy. We started talking. We found out that he used to do modules on Amiga. Then we found out what his nickname was, and we realized that we had actually been like fanboys of some of his like rave stuff back in the mid-90s, like '94. He went by the name DJ Dominator X of Live.
Of course,
DJ Dominator X.
Yeah, that was a parody thing, but I mean, Little bit
sure. That's what he says now. Yeah, I'm sure it was a parody thing.
It was a parody of Connor.
This also, the metables here are one of the best fakes ever. Like, they are not metables. It's CSG of spheres and other shapes, but they look so perfect.
It's like cones kind of stuff, not really.
It's not cones. It's a paraboloid. But because if you think of it, there shouldn't be edges on a metaball. Yeah. Well, you can clearly see where the two objects are CSG'd together. But it's one of the best fakes ever.
So
that's actually.
What's this reference here that's gonna come up at the end of this intro? I know there's a story behind this.
It's the Transgression one Snowman.
Yeah, the Transgression one Snowman can be seen in the reflection vaguely there at the top, and so it was kind of like a reference to our earlier ray tracers.
Moving on, we have Super Luxus Package of Love, which was one of the first entries that I noticed using, generative stuff into the demo. The sequences would be randomly determined. Can you confirm or deny this?
Yeah, completely random, like a bunch of bunch of scenes randomly played. Of course, there is like some design here as well, but mostly just like randomly choosing what to show and when. And also, this was the first one that had a soundtrack by Dixon.
Yeah. Which was composed starting from a tune by Nico. Actually, I just added the pads here. All the rest was pretty much sitting there.
Is the music completely fixed, or does it have some sort of generativeness to it as well?
No, it's just an XM.
Okay.
But the fact is that I think Nico didn't quite have any instrument at his place, just this kind of flute thing. So I just had to play with the flute and make it become the pads and the melody all together. So it's the only instrument I could add there. But my favorite thing in this demo is the total, let's call understatement of the 3D engine. Because when we went to 216 and see what he was doing, the things that this 3D engine can do were pretty impressive. Like it's actually a wireframe 3D engine with CSG, but you cannot really tell from the scenes here that it's real CSG. It just looks like a black cube intersecting stuff. And also it has quaternion rotations, which are not displayed or exploited as they should. But it's actually a lot more powerful than what you can see here. And you can play with the info file, with the configuration file in the actual demo. So you can set at least the resolution. I remember setting it to insane resolutions just to see it was possible.
And you have a little bit of some hypno-glow kind of vibe going, which would later on become like a benchmark in Variform and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's probably the first hypno-glow.
This was one of the like only hard-coded design things, the change of colors at a certain point.
I think it does something with calendar. Is it the demo, or is it Fortnite?
No,
That's Fortnite, I think.
Fortnite, yeah.
Which was kind of like a sequel to this one, but sort of a failure. Like we weren't able to do what we wanted to do with that one. The name for this demo was stolen from one of those magazines that had discount coupons to all kinds of things, and this was I think like the 199 Finnish mark Super Luxus Lemmen Paketti, which, well, Super Luxus package of love. It came with like handcuffs, some lace lingerie,
condoms,
couple of dildos, condoms, lube, all the kind of stuff that.
How much was it? That sounds like a decent package. Was that worth the money?
It was old money, so that was like, I don't know, maybe 30-40 euros.
That's pretty good for 40 euros.
Yeah. It's
good assortment.
Good deal.
We're watching now those two, which is a bit of a joke demo, but at the same time has very nice aesthetic mix. I particularly like the whole rave vibe that the visuals have, and it's a sequel as well to Dose 1, which also has very similar visuals, but completely different vibe from it. It's much more ravey. Anyone wants to tell the story of those two? How did this come to be?
It came to be simply with like, okay, we want to do a sequel to Dose. Like with Dose, we ran out of time and couldn't do all the kind of cool stuff that we wanted to do there. So then Dose 2 came out of that necessity, and LB had made this really stupid soundtrack with like the oldest joke on the planet. But then we were kind of like, yeah, what the hell? Let's make a fun demo for Assembly for a change. Like, let's do something else than what we normally do. And that's how this one came to be. The really kind of annoying thing about this demo was that 216 was too lazy to code the ability to actually skip time in this demo, and all of the music things were done by hand, by like seeing where we are in the song and then typing in some like if time is between this and that, show this image. And to check that all the things actually were correct, we had to watch the demo from beginning to end every time when we made a tiny change.
Pan of Spinning Kids on the chat is saying that you need to mention the pre-assembly testing on live Italians. If this was like accurately Italian sayings.
There was that, yeah, because both Pan and Dixon, both of you were at assembly in 2001.
Yeah,
we kind of
we showed up a few days before.
We kind of skipped how Dixon joined MFX, because Dixon is Italian. How the hell does an Italian join a Finnish demo group?
Oh well, I think we met at Boozembly 90 something. Was it 97?
97, I think.
Yeah, and then basically we just met there and started hanging together at Assembly 98. Then in 99 I spent my summer in Finland to do my university training. It was the 4th year in the university, so I was there for 1 month working in a gold mine in center Finland. And
There's
every
gold
weekend,
mines in Finland? Wow.
Oh yes, still is actually. It's in Orivesi. It's a bit north of Tampere. Okay. And basically every weekend it was a very boring place, just in the middle of a forest. So I jumped on a train and I went down to Helsinki, where Nico was. And when I was there, we did the usual things like going bars, and during the day we started basically doing the music for and the demo itself for Super Luxus. So that's basically how I joined, working together with Nico and 216 on Super Luxus. And then I stayed.
You stayed for life.
Yeah.
Next one that I have on the list is A Fire Upon the Deep, whose name is taken from a sci-fi novel, which I recently bought, actually. I went to look up the fucking novels, and because they had very high rating on Goodreads, so I decided, well, I know the fucking demo, might as well get the novel. Anyways, this was in 2001, so it has already some 3D acceleration stuff behind me. Can you please correct me if I'm wrong, Uncle Lex?
Yeah. This was I think one of the earlier like 3D accelerated demos that we did just after third booth actually, and I stole the name for the demo from Werner Winch's book A Fire Upon the Deep, which I had not read at that time, but the name of the book was so cool that
did you read it since then?
Yes, I did. Enjoyed it quite a lot, actually.
Okay.
It's a good book.
It's a decent one, but there's kind of like this funny thing about this demo is that this has this like bloom effect going for it, and my 3D accelerator back then was a Voodoo 3, so not the fastest of graphics cards, when like the top of the line card back then was a GeForce 2. So whenever I was writing this demo, doing effects and stuff like that, but it was running at like 4 frames per second on my PC and with that Voodoo 3 card. So what I had to do periodically was to copy the executable on a floppy disk, walk over to Curly Brace's place, who lived like a kilometer away where I used to live, put the disk in his PC and watch the demo on his GeForce 2, make notes of like what's working, what's not, go back home, edit the code a little bit, go back there, and that's basically how this demo was made. This was before we learned of things like version control system and stuff like that.
It has a very rave vibe to it as well, which is very common on a lot of MFX demos. Is it your influence, Uncle X, or just from everyone?
I think it's originally it was quite much like 1 in 10 Enemy having like the rave influence, and like everything in the 90s was that, and it's something that's kind of like always been natural, at least to me, to do like visuals for like 4 to the floor type of tracks, because well, it's easy, and two, because I like this kind of music, so it's easy to make demos to the kind of music that you like.
It's probably still is one of my favorites. Like you asked, our top demos. I think Far Upon the Deep is one of the demos that, as a package, I like the most.
It's funny, when this came out, I absolutely hated it. I was like, this sucks. I think probably there's a comment from me in Poet from like the year when this came out. That, what is this shit? I've since grown to like it.
It's like, what effect? Make something!
But by the way, Nico, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this video capture had the same bug which has ruined a lot of video captures from this time. Like, for example, all the old XS demos with like something with the texture edge. It's not visible in these later parts, but like in the early parts you saw these like weird lines, which I don't remember being there in the original version. Am I wrong, or?
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. So this is like a lot of the demos from like 2001, 2002 are completely unwatchable nowadays, because some bugs being fixed in graphics drivers kind of fucked everything up. So this demo, when you're watching the YouTube capture, this is not how this demo originally looked like. It was a little bit more subtle and more organic. So also these like square shapes that we're seeing here, I vaguely remember that they weren't that square.
Do you still have the original source code? Could there possibly be a bug fix at some point?
You're joking.
Yeah.
It might have been stored in someone's hard drive. You never know.
There is a small possibility that there might be a hard drive somewhere on, like, in Truck's pile of hardware. That
Truck, we have a mission for you. We need to bug fix that demo. It's important. Don't sleep today. Go look for that. Don't listen to me. I'm making it funny. Don't listen to me, Truck. Anyways, moving on. I wanted to quickly mention A Deepness in the Sky, which was a follow-up to A Fire Upon the Deep, which was Droid's first MFX demo, and also kicked major ass. But unfortunately, there are so many demos to play that I decided to skip it. And I picked this one, Singularity the Universe Part 1, because I really, really love it. There's the whole space ambient, but also still the same techno vibe to it. And one of the questions that I wanted to ask you about this demo is why do you have these recurring themes on MFX? You seem to do like sequels, and in case of the universe, you did like 4 entries to the sequel. Is it just coming back to the same theme, or is there like a bigger plan that you have at the time?
It's okay. I think, yeah, I have to let you guys in on a secret.
We just make demos. Nothing of this is planned.
No, it's if you make demos that are sequels or supposed sequels to previous demos, then it elevates the franchise a little bit. So when I made this, I had the idea for part 2 as well, but I didn't know that I would ever do like part 3 or part 4. But mostly these kind of like sequels, and that it's kind of easy to, like, when you have something, to go visit that theme and do more with that theme itself, because a demo usually lasts like 3 to 6 minutes, and you don't have, like, you're not able to tell everything in one demo. So that's why there's lots of these like sequels and thematic like connections between lots of the demos. And here, I like this combines two of my favorite things, which are space and techno.
Yeah, and the music, I think it's again originated by one pattern from you. Then I added something, and then Arto finished it to a decent tune.
Yeah, it was something like that, like a very, very big collaboration on the music side. Visually, this is nothing but one sphere with the star map, and then like a couple of planes.
But the momentum of the sync and the build-up, it's what really brings everything together.
Yeah.
For me, that's why I really loved it, at least.
And I think I've seen at least 2 documentaries about black holes that at some point very much look like this.
So we're safe. We're okay.
Yeah, so they look okay. Oh,
Ether. This became a bit of a classic because it got very well placed. I think it even got some awards, didn't it? Let me check real quick. It won best demo and best effects on 2005, the Scene.org Awards, back before we still had Scene.org Awards. Got second place at Breakpoint 2005.
Yeah, I remember I was in the jury of the Scene.org Awards that year, and I watched this so many times.
Probably not as many times as I watched this when like
making it, yes.
Together.
Did you have the mouse wheel scrolling back and forth already?
I think arrow left and arrow right.
Does this use the engine by Curly Brace already? Because
yes.
When did he join MFX? Was he from the beginning or 90s?
Basically from the beginning. He was also in the same group of teenage nerds in the same high school with me and Synthesi and 1 in 10 and Malfunction and Dead Meat.
Pan is asking if there's some artwork from Visualize here. I believe there is. On this one and on DTs. ITs, whatever you call it.
Yep.
DTs. Yeah, we had, I think, at least 3 demos with artwork from Visualize.
Yeah, Visual was doing all the graphics for every group out there in those years. I think he had like 10 entries in the demo compo with these graphics.
Yeah. He became a bit disencouraged with the demo scene. I mean, I know he's still making videos and drawing stuff, but he doesn't submit to any demo party, which is really weird. I guess he got a bit tired of negative comments from demo scene or something like that. Which for me, it's really sad because I admire his talent so much, and he's a good friend of mine. So it would be cool to see him participate more in the demo scene again.
Yeah, I miss Timo, but I haven't seen him in a year. Well, that happens to a lot of my demo scene friends. But Timo kind of faded out, so I don't know what he's doing nowadays.
I've seen him post some art stuff in like social media, but I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah, on Facebook. He keeps joining.
Yeah,
he actually just posted a new painting yesterday.
Yeah, like a very dark room. Yeah.
By the way, I think this is my second favorite MFX demo ever.
Which one is your first?
It's something not on the list. I can say that much. Sadly, it's not on the list.
Molotov then.
Not quite, except that was a nice one. No, actually, in Fluorescence is like the one I really liked that one. That's awesome.
Truck was asking me why didn't I put all of the noise demos there, because I'm a noise artist, so I should just love all the noise stuff from MFX, which I do. But MFX has so many entries that it's really hard to come up with a playlist. And considering we still have to see demos from 2020, I really tried to keep it short, and everyone complained that it was already so large. So it really became my job even harder.
But by the way, this demo is also from that era where captures are kind of wonky, so the final effect is a bit broken in this capture.
Yeah.
And this one was like a big collaboration between a lot of people who hadn't been that active in the demo scene before, but who joined MFX around that time. So Pomac and Heat, for example, and Scooper did some stuff there as well. So I think Ether was before DTs, it was the biggest collaboration, like biggest amount of people working on one single MFX demo. And then, of course, this one was the biggest, like 9 people doing material for this one.
But to what point were they all involved in the demo itself? I was assuming that a lot of the credits on this one and Ether were like people who worked on the original engine, but they weren't really involved with the demo making process anymore. Is this correct, or
No, for Ether, like the visuals were mostly Heat, Pomac, and myself, with engine stuff from Curly Brace and 216. Here, also the same thing, Scooper, even though he's a programmer, he provided some like 3D assets, 3D modeling stuff for both it and this one. And here the soundtrack was originally by Irstas, and the version we're listening now is a remix of that track by 1 in 10. And for this one, Synthese did lots of the texture work and overlays. And also, I think Droid did some modeling here, the like references to the things from that horrible bastardization called Robotech. Show up at again soon. These weird cone things.
this reminded me a lot of the Matrix thing, drones, whatever they're called. No, not these, but the other monster.
Yeah, that was entirely Pomac. He wanted like a Matrix drone or a Matrix squid in the demo, and he got one.
Ooh, best tunnel ever.
Yeah,
I fucking love this tunnel.
This was made by Pomac, and it's one of the like first proper pixel shader effects in any of the MFX demos.
Molly is asking on the chat, wasn't this demo inspired by some painting on your favorite bar at the time?
Yes, actually it was. There was this bar in Helsinki called Underbar, where we usually went for after-work beers with all the like demo sceners and all the people working at the same game company we all worked back then. And there was this huge, nice painting by Alvar Gulliksen, which very much is the like one of the inspirations for this demo, because we were staring at that painting over many drunken nights, thinking about we should make a demo that kind of looks like that painting.
What was Underbar? That bar in front of the place where you used to live, the commune where you lived with Jonas.
That was Sauna Bar.
Oh, Sauna Bar, yes. Remember meeting the people there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna skip the rest because we have a very long playlist. Let's watch a very small demo, 30 seconds only, called Torpedo. Made for NV Scene Challenge or NVIDIA Challenge of some sort.
Yeah, this was we had a soundtrack from DJ Hill, and this was supposed to be 30 seconds long.
And it's the story of a torpedo.
Yeah.
Hitting a submarine. Because submarine movies are cool.
With realistic physics.
It's what it says on the box.
There was no
That sure
realistic
was torpedo.
physics there. There was no realistic physics there, but I worked my ass off to make the fake physics look realistic.
This one also became a classic, 1995, in collaboration with Keulers, when Keulers decided to kill themselves and not make any demos anymore, although apparently they came back to life a few years later. 1995, so what's the story behind 1995?
In 1995, the story behind this is that 2.5 weeks before assembly, we were having a picnic with Curly Brace, Little Richard, and a bunch of other people, and we were kind of talking like, shit, we don't have a demo for assembly. Curly Brace and Little Richard said that they had been working for a demo to the same year's breakpoints, but were never able to finish it, and they were kind of like, well, do you want to finish it? And I was kind of like, yeah, why not? They gave me the source code, soundtrack, and everything, and then it was 2.5 weeks of furious work with Pomac Heat, 216 Android to come up with the rest of the demo. So most of the effects, like half of the effects you're looking at, and the 2D graphics were already in place the previous Easter. But then we kind of like we finished the demo, added a couple of effects that are coming up soon, and did the whole design for it. And then a couple of days before assembly, again, this was one of those things that happened in a bar. So me and Pomac were having a few beers in bar, and thought that there's something missing from the demo, and
it looks weird.
Yeah, then we were thinking in the bar that something is missing, and we realized that what's missing is end credits, especially end credits that pay homage to
Second Reality. Yeah. That was a nice touch, and the remix was really good at the end credits. I really liked that remix even more than the original track.
Yeah, and 1 in 10 had done that remix already, just for shits and giggles a little bit earlier. So we already had the soundtrack and everything, and then we just had to build the effect or the credit part for the demo in the last couple of days, and then that was basically it. I think this demo would have probably been forgotten much more if it wasn't for the credits part, which kind of does that whole like uplifting repeat of the whole demo before that, because to be honest, the last effect before the credits part was kind of lackluster compared to all the other stuff here. We just ran out of time with that scene and fixed that with the end credits section.
I always wondered about the last effect because it kind of always looked a bit like out of place and kind of unfinished. So
yeah, it was unfinished.
That explains it.
That explains everything. Let's move on to the next demo, which is Ultimatum to the World: First Days of the Last War. It's actually a sequel to a demo, Ultimatum to Poland. But I like this version a bit better. It's more in your face, much more aggressive soundtrack, and this really brings that MFX vibe of in your face and a lot of strobe happening and that kind of stuff. And tanks. This is like your third demo or something with tanks, which is important. So can you tell us a little bit more about the story behind this particular demo? Or the original
similar.
one?
It's a bit similar to previous demo. I think we were going to Boonsley and we said we don't have a demo. and Carly said, well, I'm working on a demo, and he had basically the tank scene and the soundtrack. And then I think it took a week or something for Nico to put everything together while I was downloading all the graphics from the internet and the movies, so he could overlay some shit that looks warlike.
Yeah,
that's what I can remember.
Need more stats.
This was a really fast production. Basically, we had the tank, we had the soundtrack. We just needed to make it into a demo about the impending peak oil crisis that sort of never happened.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the first version of that's what we saw at Curly Brace home when he said, I have this demo. It was pretty much looking like this without the overlays and without the
strobes.
The strobes and the dirt coming off the pads. That's the dirt was added later on.
Yeah.
So I basically saw it first when I was in Finland. Then I went to Bundesliga. I hadn't seen the demo myself, so I was just doing the overlays for them. But it came with me on a floppy disk. No, it was probably larger than a floppy disk this time.
It was larger than a floppy disk.
So I saw it on the big screen at Bundesliga, and I was impressed myself.
Yeah, it works very well on the big screen.
Yeah.
And a bit bad on the internet, like this encoding. Encoding usually on MFX demos is really bad because of all the flickering and stuff that happens.
It should be better on every demo, because the demos need syncs.
There is a slightly better encoded version of this on YouTube, but whoever encoded it did something really stupid, and the soundtrack is offset by like 2 or 4 beats, so the whole demo is out of sync.
Okay, we have 3 more demos lined up to show you before we wrap up this first part of watching some MFX old stuff. Oh, you have a cat.
Oh yes, it's here.
You want to you want to see a trick? I also have a cat.
I have 3, but I'm just holding one.
I have a coin. Does this count?
Does it meow? If it meows, it counts.
I just have a wife who is about to walk past because she came in from the balcony from having a smoke. But no cats here. No cats.
If she meows, it counts.
I may be able to arrange that. Let's see.
Nemantomorpha. What can you tell us about this? Nico, I guess you were the culprit behind this one.
I have no idea.
Yeah, this was the first collaboration with Blumstrine, and basically one of those like one-trick pony effect demos. So I wanted to do something that's basically a swarm of fish, like trying to go around a predator or something like that. And then at some point I was twiddling with the values and realized that it looks cooler if it's just this like dirty hair that does these shapes. There's like a really stupid flocking algorithm actually in place there, with all of these strands having like a mind of their own and all that kind of weird shit. But this won the alternative party, was it 2008? And the prize I got from this was the printed out source code for King's Quest 3 with pencil markings from Al Love and the other developers of King's Quest 3 while they were still developing King's Quest 3, like marking stuff that they need to optimize in the code or bugs that they need to fix. I also got like some design documentation for King's Quest 3 and all this kind of stuff, and I've never played King's Quest 3.
But hey, you made it good. I got 3rd place with some other guys in the same compo, and we got the design document for Donald Duck's playground. So I think
King Quest 3 wins by far.
You
could put it up on eBay and get rich.
Yeah, but
I donated the papers for King's Quest 3 to the Finnish Computer Games Museum when I was moving to Germany.
Nice.
So they're at least archived somewhere in Tampere now.
But I think we should stress one point about MFX demos, which also are one-trick ponies, is that demos need coherency, and it's best if they only have one effect.
Exactly.
That's one of the tricks behind many of the demos.
Yeah, that was one of our philosophies, like, because it's really hard to fit 2 different effects together, then let's just make one effect but make that interesting enough.
I'm all for that. This is Mono Part 2, which was interesting because both of these were Mono Part 1 and Mono Part 2 were released at Stream, I believe. And one was made by Keulers and the other one was made by MFX, and they were played one after the other on the demo compo. and one ended in the scene that the other one picked up from. So it was like a continuous thing of two different demos. That was really cool, little touch that you guys did.
Yeah, that was one of those like concept ideas that I think originally it was an idea from Curly Brace or maybe Little Richard. I can't remember. Either one of those came up with the idea, and luckily the stream combo organizers also liked our very strong request to show these two demos back to back. And I guess when they watched the demos during them, they realized that this joke needs to be seen by other people. Of course, it's one of those like you had to be there kind of moments to like get the whole point. This also I realized when I had made this demo and like something like at the demo combo or maybe a little bit after that I had actually forgotten to add Bloom to this demo. I didn't notice that I hadn't enabled Bloom because it's so flashy and the SSAO effect makes it sort of look bloomy, but this is missing the trademark MFX Bloom.
Final version required.
No, this was different. And in the pre-show, we were talking about Third Booth and the dead horses in it. This one has bats because bats are also kind of cool and evil looking.
Yep.
That's the only reason why this has bats.
I think it's good enough.
It's as good
Why
as
do you
any
need
reason.
more reasons than that?
Oh yeah, one more topic that I wanted to talk to you guys about before we move on to 2020 demos. You have a long history of doing demos that have generative stuff. We saw Super Luxus Packet of Love, but there were a lot of other demos that had similar touch to it. Deepness in the Sky also had some generative elements in it. Brock 1500 was also extremely L'Art Pretentieux. I was doing this compilation of demos with different stuff, and MFX was like a big reference to that. Any particular reason why you decided to explore that kind of way of watching a demo?
I think back when people mostly watched demos on their actual PC and not on YouTube, it made a little bit more sense to kind of like make the demo feel a little bit different every time you watch it. But for example, Deepness in the Sky doesn't have anything, any generative things, if I remember correctly.
I think the camera position is different. It's random.
Could be, but it's like it's such a mess that you don't
Yeah.
notice it.
True story.
But and also it's sometimes it's a bit of laziness. Also, it's putting random stuff in a demo is an easy way to make it look more complex than what it is.
Not sure I agree with that, because you need to make sure that it's coherent despite the randomness. So it ends up being more work to test everything out.
You just have to be consistent with your randomness, like what elements are affected by randomness and what are not.
Okay.
Selective randomness.
Yeah.
So this last demo that we have on this section of the show is Newton Protocol by Half Beat Cheese. It features music by Dixon here. Music for 4K.
Yeah.
So how did you end up making music for Half Beat Cheese?
Short story is that I hadn't been productive for like 10 years, and in the meantime I was playing with this online tracker that it's JavaScript and you can use it for your JavaScript entries. And there's Berkon posting on Scene.org that he's looking for somebody who was actually able to make a music for a JavaScript entry. And so we ended up working together. And the problem with problem. Well, the hard part was that he's a graphic coder, so he basically ate all the space with the graphics, with the code. And so I basically had to use only one or two instruments and very few notes. So this entry and the entry that we did for assembly this year, we basically spent time removing stuff from the music just to make it fit the only available space. I think it's very few bytes. It's just a few notes, and the synth had to be simplified because we were cutting effects and pieces of the synth code itself to make it fit. So that's as complicated as it can get.
You haven't convinced him to
I was
do
very
like,
happy that I.
You haven't convinced him to do native version and use Forklang like everyone else yet. Have you tried Forklang, Dixon?
No, actually not. I think I will at some point, but I really like the concept of justifying myself for doing something that doesn't sound perfect because it's JavaScript. It's a very good excuse. Like nowadays, it's so hard to make good sounding music because the limitation are very wide, so it has to sound good. So adding some extra limitations, it's excusing a bit.
Okay, so let's move on. Do you want to say something, Nico?
Yeah. I think this is probably one of the best 4Ks ever made.
It was really good. The
It's
visuals,
sublimely beautiful.
and the visuals mix very well with the sound. It was a worthy winner of Revision. Which year was it? 2 years ago?
Just probably 2 years.
2 years, yeah.
Okay. So, moving on to 2020, we're watching the top 3 demos of Revision 2020. This was the third place one, called Bring It On by Cocoon. You guys been following the resurgence of Cocoon, the stuff that NTSC been doing? Well, do you guys have any thoughts on it?
Oh.
Do you like the
It's a bit hard
style?
to avoid those. Like, yes, you definitely cannot not see those. And
This is very Notch in all the good things and the bad things that means. I really like this demo. Like some of the individual scenes and effects in this one are super nice.
Yeah.
This is the notch part. Like particles flying everywhere.
And
I kind of really like the logo effect in the beginning because it's kind of like a throwback to old logos. But in a modern way. I think that was a nice idea.
But it's fun when you also see commercials or like advertisements that use Notch, and you see the particles effect, and you can always tell it's Notch.
Yeah.
It's like a trademark.
What are your personal preferences on the use someone else's engine or not use someone else's engine? Are you all for using your own engine or not? I know you guys been using Cables GL lately, so I'm curious to hear your thoughts.
Use whatever lets you be creative. Just remember to give credit where credit is due.
Yeah, that's the most important thing.
This scene really blew my mind when I saw this in the revision
cool.
stream.
Yeah, I think my thoughts about using other engines is it's fine to do whatever, but I think it's more fair to make in competitions to mix things which is completely done from scratch by groups and things that are commercials. I mean, not maybe done from scratch, but still amateur stuff with commercial stuff, because there's a lot of budget behind Unity, for instance, and I don't feel it fair to compete with people that does everything from scratch. But that's just my feeling.
Yeah, but then if we had a separate compo, it would be a bit weird. Like, at what point do you consider the engine made by...
Yeah.
I mean, can Smash release demos and call them as their own engine if he made Notch?
where do
There's
you
no
draw the
answer.
line?
Yeah.
Yeah, drawing the line is the hardest part, and that's why we don't draw the line, and we just have fun with it, and that's perfectly fine. I mean, but if I was like one of those guys that does everything by himself and can't win a compo because everyone else is so much better,
Yeah.
I mean, I'd be pissed.
You'd be, yeah.
Oh, hey, this demo, I remember this one. I haven't
yeah.
watched this since the party, actually, like not even once.
So how did you come about using cables to begin with?
Yes, Pandur had been kind of like pointing me towards cables for almost 2 years, and I first did some tests with cables in like late 2018, then kind of forgot about it for a year. Me and Break were talking about we need to make a demo for like a year or so, and then thankfully this thing called coronavirus hit us, and we suddenly had
Finally
lots of
time
free
to make a demo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Funny that.
Yeah, and this was like a pure let's learn to use cables kind of exercise, and Pandur was heavily involved, Baguth as well, and like there's Strix dancing here, so it was a combination of many things all tied together nicely by Break's bloody awesome soundtrack.
Oh, are you sure that Syntes didn't do it? Because that's what I read on DemoZoo.
Well, I've been dreaming of making a Doppler effect sort of soundtrack to a demo, and I never really managed, and that's it.
Like
Like
I hate
old
everything
school
about
electro.
the soundtrack. I hate everything about the soundtrack myself, but mostly because I just ran out of time mixing it, and somewhere I actually have a version which sounds better than the one which ended up in the demo, but even that is not done, so the next soundtrack I will do will be a lot better mixed, I can promise that. It's kind of like a tracker guy tries to do real music and then it sounds like crap.
Break, tell us a little bit about your demo scene history. When did you start making music? When did you become involved with the demo scene?
Around 92 on the Amiga, mostly like mail swapping and doing modules and being kind of lame. I think Scoopex used my module once, but that was pretty much it. I was in the same group where like certain Mr. Hoffman got his start, so that's probably the closest thing I did to anything elite. But yeah, then I kind of fell out when I switched from Amiga to PC and accidentally bought a PC which didn't come with a GUS. It had a sound blaster, so no demos worked. So I was kind of like, okay then. And I think only like when Windows demos started to be a thing, I kind of got back into this. And
All right.
sometimes I do something. That's my story.
Okay. And how did you end up making this track? Was it just a track that you had lying around, or did you make it specifically when
No, it was
discussing
very
demo?
much done for this. Like I think we were discussing ideas, and I think Nico said that like maybe I should do like a techno soundtrack, but I was like really much into electro, like kind of electro fest, and I was like, well, how about we do like an electro thing? And I think we went to a rave which has like kind of this kind of energetic electro stuff, and I think like after that Nico said that yeah, actually electro might work.
Yeah.
And then I just thought that okay, I think the concept became like just let's do the most cliched electro thing imaginable. And
Yeah.
How does living in
that's kind of what
Berlin?
happened.
How does living in Berlin influence the soundtrack of this? It's very electronic like hub for music production. So does it influence
Yeah, I
that
mean,
at all?
it
or-
could not influence. It could not influence. Like it definitely does that.
Yeah, I mean, last winter we did spend several nights in random Berlin techno clubs, mostly just talking about what should be in the demo.
Yep.
Nice. That's a nice way to do some field research for your demo. Anyways, you got second place at Revision. This is the winner demo, VX2 by Spectrals. Do you guys have any thoughts on this demo?
My first thought was when I saw this was like, oh shit, we also have an wireframe electro demo in the compo, and now everyone thinks that like we ripped these guys off or something.
How could you have ripped them off if you didn't know competition that was happening?
Well, I mean, conceptually, like having like two very similar demos in the same compo.
In the very least,
doesn't
you
bode well.
have agreed with them to follow a certain team. That would have been the only
Luckily,
logical
I
assumption.
didn't. I basically had this effect for our demo, but decided not to use it, which was a good thing, I guess.
Yeah.
But here, I might be in a minority here, but I really love the soundtrack in this one.
Made by Alchema.
I like it too. I like the demo in general. It's not even the style I used to like, but I have to say that it didn't feel bad to lose to this one.
Yeah, true. I mean, I think this was the worthy winner of that party.
Definitely.
Did all of you guys follow Revision online? Did it feel weird to be online?
It did feel a bit weird, but it worked surprisingly well, especially thanks to the Sofa World.
Yeah, Sofa World and all the video chats which were going on, I thought it was good fun. But I have to say that like it's been hard to get enthusiastic of all the online parties like throughout the year.
Yeah.
It's good once in a while, and for like a major thing like Revision, it's fun. But it's a bit hard to motivate yourself to do that, like because it's still not the same as meeting your friends in real life.
Did you guys use to sofa scene before, like watching the live streams of stuff? Because I do that a lot, but I live far away from demo parties, so maybe I have a bigger experience watching stuff remotely than you guys had. Did you guys follow it?
Not much. I prefer like waiting for the YouTube capture or something like that and watch it when I have time.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, not much up for. Well, if I have friends, like I did it a few times with friends, so actually gather at my place.
There's always the chat, and you start talking crap, and then other people are also in the chat, and and start talking with them. There's usually a lot of back and forth that you can do.
I can do it sometimes, but not for all the parties. While
I've seen
I would
you
love
do
to
it.
Go, yeah, I would like to go to every party. I wouldn't like to sofa scene all of them.
Yeah.
It's like the real presence is more motivating.
Yeah, of course.
I pretty much agree completely with that. Like, sometimes I check out compos like even before, but not like super actively.
Yeah, same for me. I think the only parties that I usually checked out remotely live were all the revisions that I didn't end up going to.
Okay, we're gonna skip the rest of the demo because it's pretty known. Let's go for this is the winner of Evoke 2020, Bitbendas Levitas. Did you guys seen this one?
No, it's first time for me.
Okay.
I actually missed this
Check
too.
it
I
out.
just checked it before the stream.
I
What's
skimmed
Chucky, by the
through this
way?
yesterday, but I missed this when this came out.
Okay, so we get to have live impressions from you people on the winner demo of Evoke.
It's interesting for me. It's like a mixed bag. It's some really fun and cute stuff, and
Has a ravey feeling, so it's a bit connecting to some MFX demos as well. In that
It
regard.
connects me to the Pimp Brigade mostly.
Also, this kind of connects me to like late 90s or mid to late 90s.
Sounds very much like
Vipers
Prodigy.
and CMCD.
It sounded
Yeah.
it sounded a lot like Prodigy to me, the soundtrack. Well, mostly when the samples start kicking in. The voice samples,
Yeah.
I mean.
I kind of get the feel that trying to do like the attitude of CNCD Fairlight, but not quite managing the same level of style.
Yeah, different kind of style.
Yeah, it's
But
like
it's definitely entertaining. Definitely
yeah, I
entertaining.
mean, this has lots of good stuff, but this does kind of feel like the low-budget version of Fairlight and CNCD.
Was using Chucky instead of Notch, so that's why.
Yeah, I mean,
But there are lots of nice touches in here, like kind of fun design bits. It's impossible to hate this, I would say.
It's good.
yeah, it's like a solid 8 out of 10. Would watch again.
Yeah. Yeah, but you're right. It's definitely mimicking at least the CNCD style.
But
In a good
it
way,
doesn't- Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter. All art is copying other art.
Of course.
Everything is a remix.
This is probably my favorite scene. That just the spinning mics are so silly that I love it. So stupid. It's great.
Tape credits.
Yeah.
Oh, they greeted the Swedish MFX and not the real MFX. Sad.
Yeah, I definitely need to talk to those guys. Like, did they not Google when coming up with their group name?
Okay, I take back my comments. Worst demo ever.
And I think SMFX is founded like about 10 years ago or something like that, or 5 years ago, and usually, at least when I'm coming up with a name for a demo, I search that name on Poet to see if someone made it already, and would be kind of cool if people would do that with groups as well.
Isn't the group name like from the first letters of the handles of the guys who founded it? But still, they could have put those in different order, right? So it would be less like MFX. I don't know. Just saying.
Like SXMF or something.
See better already.
Oh yeah. Well, there is some cliche.
Yeah. I was watching this scene, I was like, I've seen this like in 5 other demos at least already.
Yeah. Like, yes, mandatory Amiga reference check. Like, yeah, why?
Get the nostalgia vote
not?
in. Someone on the chat is asking.
Ironically.
Someone on the chat is asking why demos cannot have commercial music. There are a lot of demos with commercial music. Some people don't really care about that, but some demo parties ask you to have original music only, and that's why most groups try to have original music. Also gives extra points for making your own original music instead of ripping someone else's music.
And
now
of
we're
course,
watching...
some demo music becomes commercial music later on.
Yeah. Timberlanding through the world. Anyways, Euphrates demo by MFX. So where the idea come for this particular effect?
The effect here actually came from an effect I had in cathodoluminescence, but kind of wanted to work more on, which is this kind of like line. Like height map thing, and I realized that I could do this like fake vector line water stuff, and Ponder was nice enough to actually code the water shader for this, and the concept was originally to like do stuff that tries to emulate the old like phosphor CRT monitors, because I always had like a soft spot for the way that like the orange phosphor looks like in those old laptops with like the super long refresh blur, and also the like the classic green and white phosphor, how they act differently. So that was kind of like the concept for the visuals, like the visual style for this, and the rest basically came from me fooling around with Dash 3D, which is this like similar software to Poser, and just having these different like bodies and parts of people like doing stuff that they would do in water, maybe if they would be like ghosts or dead or some shit like that. And Ronnie, I asked Ronnie for the music. I've collaborated with him many times before, and he had this really awesome track, which he then made the like demo edits for this. That was basically it. Also, I wanted to do something that didn't have a single camera cut in it, so it's just like one scene. The camera is mostly in the same place, constantly turns just a little bit.
This reminded me a lot of that Andromeda software development demo that was completely scrolling. Do you know which one I'm talking about?
Yeah. Yes, that was actually one of the like inspirations for this, because I really loved that demo back in the day.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so this got third place at Outline Online. The second place was Nova Online Invite by Bitshifters Collective, which we will not play because it's not for Windows, and we're trying to focus on Windows demos only on this show. And the first place was The Vanishing of Ashlar by Newson, which is a relatively new scener, has been doing a lot of cool stuff with shader programming. I'm gonna let this demo play out though, because it's just really good.
The good part about this demo is that my first computer, it was a C64 with orange phosphorus monitor, and the only game I had was Zaxxon, which had that diagonal scrolling. So it kind of got me memories.
I actually never had a computer that had the orange screen, but a friend of mine had it, and it was like the most futuristic thing ever for 10-year-old me back in like 1988.
It was fun finding out that C64 actually had colors. It took me about two years, because I figured that I could connect it to the TV and actually have music and colors, because I thought it was an orange computer without music.
Kranksky on the chat is saying that the soundtrack reminds a lot of that Basshead track from Kvak demo, I think it's called, from back in the day. Do you know which demo I'm talking about? One that is completely green. It's really good.
Which one?
I think it's called Kvak, but I'm not finding it right now. So let me try to search for the right title.
Can't remember the music though.
Well, it sounds very close to this, so Vak. Okay.
And if anyone's interested why this demo is called Euphrates, is because I was trying to find some nice word from Sumerian mythology for shits and giggles, and couldn't, but they built their cities near the river, so...
This demo. I just seen this one before.
This one, right.
It's really good demo. I really love it. I guess we're gonna watch it. We're okay in time, so I think we're gonna watch it.
Let's do.
Have you seen this before, Nico?
I'm gonna tell you when I actually start seeing stuff. my internet is so shit that Watch Together buffers stuff for like half a minute before it shows up on my screen.
Okay, fair enough.
I had the same problem earlier. I think that's German internets for you.
One would think that German internet would work smoothly with German efficiency, but apparently internet is not their strong suit.
It's the same German efficiency which built our airport. Maybe you've heard of that.
It also could be my ad blocker, which has blocked 398 different things from Watch Together while we've been streaming.
Oh yeah, 369 for me. That's impressive.
It just embeds YouTube, so whatever ads pop up on YouTube, your ad block gets them on Watch Together.
I kind of failed to see the connection with the music in this one and Ronnie's track in Euphrates, but
it's electro sounding.
Well,
Well,
Anyways,
should we
moving
spend the rest
on.
of the stream talking about different genres of electronic music?
I think there are different streams for that. Maybe not in this one.
Let's watch one of the most mind-blowing 4Ks of 2020. It's called The Vanishing of Ashtar. It's made by Newson. Really mind-blowing. Love the rendering on this one. And 4
it's
kilobytes.
Super great.
This was the one with the windows and shit.
If you count those things windows, I guess yes.
Yes.
Yeah, this one definitely doesn't look like your average run-of-the-mill Ray Marcher. This is
Yeah,
really,
I
awesome.
really love the visual style here as well. Really nice use of color and the kind of like global illumination type lighting.
it's beautiful.
And I have to say the music also sets the mood pretty well, like especially considering the size limitations. It's
Yeah.
super fitting. Like if it would be a generic kind of just techno-ish 4K soundtrack, probably wouldn't be enjoying this as much, even despite the excellent rendering.
Yeah.
There's something a little bit reminiscent of Played in the soundtrack.
Indeed.
Was it Itsu, the track with the pigs?
Yeah, maybe.
Someone on the chat is asking about RTX demos. There were already at least one that was made using RTX technology, but I'm sure more will come eventually.
Didn't we just watch one? Like what was it called? Transgression 2. I was going to make an RTX on joke, but because Nico was actually like talking about the history, I was like, okay, I'll let it slide.
RTX on now. This was another demo released this year. For me, it's one of the best demos of the year. It's called Black Hole. It's by Nils Nausk. Was released at Field Effects, I believe.
I love it. I'm super happy they made a comeback because I liked their early stuff, and then they were gone for like, at least with the group name, they were gone for years.
Fell into the black hole.
And the main coder for Nils Nausk actually worked on Unity for a lot of time. So if he makes demos with Unity, it's his own engine.
Sidewalk. Into the black hole. Block after block of sidewalk silently disappearing before my
I really
eyes.
loved
this is
using spoken word on demos, which is not very common, and I really love the impact that it has.
Into the black hole, but mysteriously,
Yeah, this is instantly
I stand
different.
naked in the nothingness of a black hole hangover, wondering what it is about me a black hole doesn't like.
And my
Because
boyfriend can make you
although it is
disappear.
suck to experience instantaneous implosion, it's not very fun to be the world's only black hole.
There's an interesting evolution of scene poetry throughout the years. I made a video about that actually at some point, like going through all of the demos and when it started becoming serious, like serious poetry, not scene poetry. And it's interesting to see like the different demos that exist and how it evolved throughout the years. But I think late 90s was really the moment where it started shifting and really became like a thing. Mostly with Orange, I believe, were one of the main culprits. And Replay.
Yeah, it's hard to tell when it's serious or when it's not, especially in the mid-90s. Sometimes we just felt that demos should have words or kind of poetry there for a design effect.
And even if I did, the power plant disappeared along with all the
They were
balloons I can rub in
often
my hair to make enough
misplaced.
static electricity to power the
Didn't
record player I don't
Farbrowse do a thing where they released an intro with some scene poetry, and after they got so much shit for it on Poet. They released a final version which replaced the scene poetry with like old demo scene slogans or something like that. Or was it Furbrowse or someone else?
I don't remember that.
Staring at my
But I would be interested in seeing that
neither.
demo.
I distinctly remember this. Like it was the early 2000s. It was already on Windows.
Was it Africola, the advert? I don't know.
No, I don't think so.
Or was it Poem to a Horse?
Yes, I think that was it actually. Yes, probably.
Poem to a Horse just had Hund everywhere.
Bite my fingernail so that a needle
No, but I
sharp
think
sliver
wasn't
dangles from
that the
my
one where there
hand
was like an
finger.
original version which
I
had
pick up the
something
record
like
and begin
kind of
spinning it on my
meaningful
other
text
hand.
there
And
and
when my
I don't think
Springsteen
so.
sense
And it got-
tells me the record is spinning
maybe I'm
precisely
thinking of the wrong demo, but I
33
think there was one like
1/3
that.
revolutions per minute.
Well, Hund is
My fingernail
meaningful.
down on the record.
Well, yeah, sure.
Truck is saying that I should show the Heaven 7 MFX Kuler's choir version. I don't know what that is, and I'm afraid to find out.
That should be on the Mind Candy 3 Blu-ray in one of the comment tracks.
I'm gonna look it up if it's on YouTube. If it's on YouTube,
I
I know that Bruce Springsteen.
I
I
might
hope
or
it
might
is
not play it.
I continue steadily at 33 1/3.
that was I think we had quite some beers when we were recording the commentary.
We do have Exceed Heaven 7 commentary. I'm gonna try to play that. And you can blame Little Bitchard if it's bad. Okay. Let's see.
Okay.
So apparently this is the one.
How to ruin a
I'm still
classic.
buffering.
It's also a classic both in scene poetry and ray tracing.
I'm still buffering.
Right.
Satan!
Yes, we had lots of fun doing this.
I feel so bad for Picard right now. Oh my god, this is so bad.
I didn't even know this was a thing.
Me neither.
It's the
This
first
is
time
what
I'm
we
watching.
think of scene poetry.
I'm gonna put this as the alarm sound on my phone now.
I want to watch it.
I can never watch this intro again, like and think about it the same way. I'm scarred for life now. Thanks.
We have to watch it till the end because apparently there is a very insightful Uncle X comment at the end. So says Truck, so it must be true.
Yes, there is.
Has there ever been like a demo live dubbing compo at any party? I'm just saying.
That sounds like a great idea for a compo. I want to do that. I want to organize that. We have made like sometimes when there's just an effect and there's no soundtrack, we at Inertia we usually get Genio to start singing along. Well, everyone sings along, but mostly Genio because he's like professional musician. So we usually have that, but that would be a nice compo to do like blind demo remix. The palm.
I think that went well.
Yes.
That was really good.
Jolly good, sir.
I was actually listening to that in the smoking room. It sounded like if someone would be playing that to me when I'm having a hangover, I would probably kill everyone.
So it's. We'll deliver you the CD tomorrow.
Great.
Okay, thank you.
That was some worthwhile commentary section for Mind Candy DVD right there.
We do have the unreleased MFX history DVD commentary also somewhere. So I think LB still has that, and
Is it just like that, but the length of an entire DVD? Shut up and take my money.
I think it starts out somewhat sober, but goes downhill from there.
It's a great present if you hate someone. If you hate someone for Christmas, here it's an MFX entire 2-hour-long commentary of everyone shrieking random things. Anyways, on to Function Demo Party. This is Escalation got third place at the compo. Demo by Garguy, supposedly a punchline or a quirk or something regarding politics in demos somehow. Did you guys watch this before, previously?
Yes.
Yeah.
I kind of enjoyed this.
Yeah,
So
also
sponsored
for
by
me, it was
PlayStation, I guess.
It has a lot of PlayStation symbology. Yeah, I recognize that.
I mean, this was okay. It's kind of like it doesn't go the distance. I feel it could have done more with the concept.
Well, Watch Together is telling me that this video is age restricted and I cannot watch it.
Oh crap! And your
yeah,
child
you-
is watching on the stream. I should kill the stream right now to prevent age-restricted stuff.
For some odd reason, YouTube age restricted this, probably because it has a picture of a gun in it.
And skulls. In some religions, if you
Honestly,
put a
it doesn't.
skull, it's like illegal to put skulls.
No, I think this is like the fifth demo we watched like today, which had skulls in it, so that can't be it. But I'm guessing the gun.
It's the gun and the
And drugs.
ejection needle.
Yeah. And a crack pipe that shows up
Oh,
at
yeah.
some point. Or at least it looked like a crack pipe to me, but maybe that was just me.
So while I'm not seeing it, it's restricted to me because I'm just 45.
So is that like a thing when you're not logged into YouTube? Because
Yeah.
I think that's when it complains about that stuff. I like this one. It's not like groundbreaking or anything, but it works.
Yeah, I mean, again, it could have done a little bit more with the concept.
Agreed.
Okay. Interesting comments.
Kinda
Let's
like it.
move on to place number 2, which was by Rebels. I think it was coded
yeah.
by Scarab. It's called Spiral. Are you guys Rebels fans? They're a very old group.
Yeah, I think they've been doing so much different things with different lineups that you'll find something there you like, definitely.
Yeah.
I like the soundtrack in this one because it's kind of like it's retro, but in like a tasteful way. It's not something you would expect to hear in many demos.
I think it's
like-
by Tio, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
Check.
yeah, it's by Tio, and I kind of feel like asking him if this is actually like an old mod he made in the 90s, because this sounds like this was made in the mid-90s.
Yeah,
in
it's
a
very
tracker.
90s, but it's like 90s in not like the super cliched way either. It's like definitely sounds like 90s, but not like in kind of like, oh, it's this 90s shit again.
90s,
For
but
some reason, I
mastered.
really like it. Right, right.
But it was a thing in the early 2000s to revive old elite demo groups and just with different lineups. I think that happened to Rebels at some point. So you saw the Rebels name and then you read the names there and couldn't quite find anybody of the names you knew back from the Amiga scene, for instance. But I don't know which kind of lineups this is and how it connects with the old Rebels.
But that's the scene for you. Like things live. I think Rebels. I remember because of course they started in Sweden and did some some pretty well-known demos. But then, of course, they had the Finnish division, which was probably what I was like most into. And of course, they went on to later form something called CNCD. So that's kind of like where that started.
I really like this demo. Like the effects, individual scenes, everything just have like a really good vibe to it.
For me, like not every scene works. I didn't really like this walking thing, but it's still it's a solid demo. It's like it's pretty I can say original looking, but it's distinct looking, if that makes sense, if you know what I'm trying to say.
You remember it. It doesn't really
yeah.
just disappear from your memory like a lot of demos do.
Yeah.
It's always hard to have.
Memorable, that's the word.
Yeah,
Sure.
It's sort of this kind of models without falling in the uncanny valley of them looking misplaced in a way. So they are not always up to the level. If you remove the human body from here and replace it with any other generative stuff or random geometric shapes, it probably looks more coherent to the rest.
Well said.
But they read somewhere that if you put a
It's
woman, you get extra points. So, and now they have a baby instead. Fat baby.
It's a Matrix baby.
Yeah, Matrix baby.
Okay, yeah, maybe not all of the scenes in this demo are good, but most of them are.
Yeah, like the good ones are really good, but then there's some of these kind of maybe not so much.
I mean, to be honest, this one is but ugly. But then
and we have running babies.
Well, they are
You have running
escaping.
babies
They are
with this.
escaping from the Matrix.
This is suddenly like this without the previous one would have actually been like perfect. Just like out of the blue, like these weird running babies with glowing eyes would have made much more sense than first showing them in some sort of cheap ass Matrix cocoons.
Pan has the solution on the chat. Just make it drive a tank. If the baby was driving a tank, this would be 10 times more awesome than it is.
Probably the best demo ever at that point.
Yeah.
If the tank was shooting lasers as well, then it would be double the best demo
Or
ever.
shooting dolphins that are shooting lasers, like for extra.
now
shooting
we're
at
talking.
dolphins.
Time for a final version of this demo. Someone message Rebels immediately.
By the way, break, I was actually going through our old source code while we were working on cathodoluminescence to see if I could have actually been able to rip the tank out of Ultimatum to the World and put it into cathodoluminescence, but no, it was not very compatible with cables.
That's a shame.
So this demo that we're watching now won the function demo party, not by a lot of votes. It was very small margin, very competitive between the top three. I really like the style change from the typical United Force digital design. This is mostly slice by work. He's done a lot of demos with this style, but he has a different twist on this one with the soundtrack, and I really love what he did here. Very surrealistic kind of vibe.
And it has a pineapple. Sadly, it's not on a pizza, but still, pineapple alone makes this one of my
Golden
favorite
pineapple.
demos this year. Golden.
Oh, Dixon is still here, even though someone mentioned pineapple on pizza.
I have a filter for those things.
I think the sounds really work well, and this is like kind of a small thing for the usual formula, but I dig it. I thought this was refreshing.
Yeah, I really love it. You like how we have so many surrealist demos in 2020. Well, at least two of them that were really big hits.
I think it could be that people are now making demos not for the big screen, but for like watching at home. So you can kind of like, it's easier to experiment.
I think so.
That could be one reason, or then just pure happenstance. But yeah, I mean, the concept, the execution here, top notch.
The rendering quality is also really good. And the music, like the audio production on that was amazing. Like a lot of people won't consider that real music, but the production quality was completely mind-blowing.
And then again, who said that as a absolute rule, the sounds in demos have to be music? Like if you think of like the Downtown demo, the curly brace thing, that didn't really have music, but it's one of the most memorable demos ever. So
Yeah, I remember that as a lot of people consider that like a cornerstone of minimalistic demos. I wouldn't go that far, but it's a very memorable demo in itself. Anyways, onto demos from Inertia, demo party they organized. This was the third place entry, Nevoa, mostly made by Pandur and Bagoof with music by me. I really liked how it turned out. Like, I just gave them the music, they did all the visuals, but I really liked it. And it felt like a sequel to The Lost Religion of Light, an older demo that I had made with Cosmoplopsy, so I was really happy to see this.
Yeah, Pandur showed like an unfinished version of this to me a little bit before the party, and I really like this.
yeah, good stuff. It's like fits the visuals fit the soundtrack perfectly. It's like just understated enough but interesting enough. I really thought this was great.
Yeah, I tried so many times to do dark ambient like you do, and I always failed. So I never managed to make it minimalistic as it should be. I always put too many ingredients there. So at the end of the day, I just delete the track.
I end up doing another electro track.
No, really. Somebody might argue that dark ambient is just overlaying textures and ambient pads, but it's not. It's actually art by itself.
I find that it's mostly
I need
about
to step out for a couple of minutes, but I'll be back in like maybe 5 minutes or something like
yeah,
that.
no problem. I feel like that it's mostly about oh shit. Did I lose the guests? I lost the guests. I'll fix it somehow. Okay, I fixed it. I think that it's mostly about the production, but in terms of mixing, of balancing the different elements, and I think you need that kind of balancing on most genres of music. But when you're doing dark ambient in particular, you kind of notice those changes a lot easier because it's so minimalistic. So you kind of have to have a more careful attentiveness to those volume balances.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you just layer a whole lot of things and make it kind of like pumping, like some kind of techno soundtrack, it's easier to get away with stuff, which is not maybe sounding as good as it could. The more simple and kind of low key it is, for me at least, the harder it becomes.
And then there's the cheesy part of myself that always wants to throw in notes that make sense with each other, and then it's not dark ambient anymore.
Then it's melodious all of a sudden.
Yeah, and I just can't help myself not doing it. That's why I fail all the time.
But there's a genre for that as well. What's it called? It's not. I don't remember the right word right now. When it's extremely uplifting, it's like dark but uplifting at the same time. Which this one was a little bit. It's not ancestral. Is fuck. Well, I don't remember. It's not ethereal either. I don't remember. Anyways, doesn't matter. Anyways, entry number 2 was Sim by T'Pol, featuring music by Kettle, which is a long-standing artist doing IDM sounds. The Pomo had this very strong connection with people doing IDM sounds from different labels because we have a lot of IDM artists in the Palm. So Feather had good connections and got the soundtrack from Kettle. And this is also made with Notch, but I liked how it turned out. It's interesting to see Feather messing with another tool, Notch in particular.
I also like this one. This has like a kind of really nice mood to it, and a lot of it is like the camera movements versus the model movements. Like super simple, but it works. I enjoyed this one quite a bit.
Kind of reminds me of what Yugi is doing.
Yeah.
See some of the stuff
definitely.
on Instagram.
I saw this and I thought of Yugi because it like the colors and the vibe and the models. He also tries a lot of things with models, so it definitely reminded me of Yugi stuff. And I remember the word. It's called Celestial Ambient. That's what it's called.
Well, makes sense.
First time I'm hearing about it. Need to check that out.
Wild and Collects returns.
Yep. Funny, I just noticed that Twitch's chat censors Dixon's nick, at least for me.
All right.
It was when I changed the OBS to have 2 people instead of 3, the name was swapped. But now it's correct again.
No, Twitch censors it, draws stars in place of Dixon's nick, and I have to tap it to reveal the offensive contents.
Really?
Yes.
Huh. So he can't watch stuff that it's underage, and now he gets censored. Interesting internet settings you have there. This is what you get when you have a teenage kid. You have to do these kind of things.
Yeah, that's family control all the way. I think I have at least 3 different apps for family control on the internet, and on
None of
Nintendo
them work.
Switch. Of course not.
Anyways, that was demo number 2, and the winner demo is by 5711 and Farbrush and Accession, collaboration of KB, Daria, and Genial. They made a Bossa Nova demo because they could.
Because Genia.
Yeah.
Greetings to Accession. Well, and the rest, I guess. I love the music, and the demo itself is pleasant, but I have to say that it's kind of like what's the group who does a very similar style?
Norwegian group.
Norwegian or Danish? Where's my?
The group with a lot of people.
Hello, my brain. Yes, I think we're talking about the same one, but what's the name? Thanks, brain. Anyway, it kind of looks like their stuff, but isn't quite as sleek, and I would kind of hope it would be a bit more sleek. But again, there's Pineapple, so I can't hate it.
Pineapples seem to be some sort of a recurring
Ninja Dev
theme here.
Ninja Dev, exactly. Yeah, I think this is the year of Pineapple in demos.
And yeah, this also reminded me of Ninja Dev aesthetics. They had some similar vibes, but this one had a unique style to it.
And this one has the cactus, that's adorable. That's so cute. And the music is like great.
I think this was also made with cables.
Yeah. Yes, it was.
Cables truly is killing the demo scene.
10 pineapples.
Well, I mean, we had a break of 5 years from making demos, and then cables came along.
Is it easier? Can you tell us a little bit why cables facilitates the process? Just easier to prototype ideas, or?
Well, I don't have to write any code.
I'm just
That kinda
lazy.
helps.
I just don't want to type.
I mean, you have to write a little bit of code, but only a little bit. And it's just like super easy, super fast to prototype stuff and see results in real time on your screen. So it is a very powerful tool. Would recommend to anyone who's happy with the limitations of WebGL.
They're not that many.
No, not really. I mean, it's
And Pandur
pretty
does
full-fledged.
Pandur does a good job to make sure that you take full advantage of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if you think all the cables demos we have just watched, like in the last hour or whatever, like the first thing you don't think about is limitations after all this stuff.
I remember Pandur started working on cables, I think, maybe 15 years ago. We were at BCN party in Barcelona, and he was coding the cables, actually coding the connectors. And that became a thing very much later on.
Okay, so that was
Yeah,
Inertia.
definitely.
Moving on to, I believe, Assembly. We had a 4K winner with a little hand by Mr. Dixon here. It's called
Oh, yeah.
Virgu 1302 by Half-Bit Cheese. What can you tell us about this entry?
Yeah, basically the same story than the other 4K, that it's mostly Jimmy Birkin work. He basically had it done when he came to me and said, well, we might need the music for this. And I was like, okay, what's the space you have left? And it was,
None.
again, no space. Actually, a bit more than the previous demo. But sadly, we still had to use the old music synth, which kind of lost feeling against the other 4Ks that sounded so much better. But this one, for instance, it's mono. The music is just all centered, no panning, because we had to save, I think, 12 bytes, removing the stereo mixing routine. So,
Who did stereo when you can save 12 bytes on a 4 kilobyte intro?
yeah, and some of the notes are actually there just because they are multiples of other notes, so they kind of come for free when you compress them. And while other notes were removed because they were not multiples. So it was and there were a lot of fuck ups as well while doing this demo. I think the worst one was 1 week before the party. Chrome just sent an update and modified all the Web 2 blah blah stuff. Basically crashed the demo.
Oops.
So Berkon had to work, I don't know, 2-3 days full time just to fix it again and have it working, because the compression routine wasn't working anymore. So it was last minute craze. And we also had discussion about this being too long or not. And so I think this version is 115 BPM. There's also a version with 120 BPM, which is a bit shorter. But eventually we decided that black holes are interesting enough to make it a bit longer. But it's a feeling, it's a taste thing.
I really like the cloud effect more than I actually like the black holes.
Clouds
like
look
both.
amazing. Yeah, both are great, and not long, not too long at all.
But
This was super trippy.
What kind of bothers me with this is that the black holes are generating the clouds instead of sucking them in, which is kind of like my suspension of disbelief is out the window at that point.
I think they're just rotating around them. I don't know if they are generated. The problem is also colors were a bit tricky because there are only 2 lights. So there's not much you can do with colors. And so
You didn't have enough
Lot of-
lights for extra colors anyways.
no, there was a spaceship at some point which completely felt out of place, then it was removed. That was a spaceship done with spheres floating around.
Probably
Yeah,
a good idea to leave that out.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
is way better without some spaceship.
No, I commented that it moves too fast. There is this assumption that I got from 216 that very big things should move very slowly, and it kind of works in your brain. And
Yeah.
and I mean, these black holes should have been very big, but then we kind of decided that everything moves close to the speed of light. So
I'd actually really love to see that in a demo at some point, like someone actually like making the visuals look like time dilation when you're moving close to the speed of light.
Moving on to the PC demo compo of Assembly, this is Demons by T-Palm, got 3rd place. I got very heavy Bjork feelings out of this demo. What did you guys think?
I really love the soundtrack. Actually, the soundtrack is super good.
Made by Croaker.
Yes. Also known for this small mobile game called Angry Birds.
Yeah, I think I played it at some point.
Yeah.
I think I saw the movie.
I like the music as well, and I don't know. I saw on Poet that a lot of people really love this demo, but I have to say I'm not crazy about the visuals. Like we were just saying something about awkward models and animation. And
this scene I didn't really like that much. I thought it was a bit too forced, didn't really fit the music so well. But the rest of the demo I really liked. But it kind of grows on you as well.
For me, this is pretty much my favorite scene in the whole demo. Like there's something like super like absurd in the like whole dance loops.
Yeah,
I like the absurdity. I like, but just it's not like super exciting to look at.
It doesn't feel very polished to me. I mean, the music is good. The visuals have ideas behind, but just seems like they should have put more work in polishing the corners.
It's one of these things. That is it a serious demo or not? I can't really tell.
Correct.
It's the
That's
Palm
feeling.
demo. It's the
fair
most
enough, but
serious
still.
thing, most serious demo you'll ever see.
I would like to see a game out of this, like Angry Bubble Samurai. That would work. The music is awesome. I love the music.
With little fishies swimming around. Oh, they're not fish, they're other people, obviously.
I think I can't remember who. Someone said it on Poet that the like clothing made out of milk is awesome.
Like
It's different.
red
I mean, I don't remember
particles
seeing that in
come
many
out.
demos.
It's definitely memorable.
Yeah, but you see, I mean, the model is not dropping shadow on the rock, and there are things here and there that kind of make it feel unfinished, or I don't know, maybe that's on purpose, but.
So you're saying that this is a demo?
It's not realistic enough.
No, but it's unfinished.
Yeah, it's
Never happened before.
yeah.
What did you guys think of Assembly this year overall? It felt a bit lackluster in terms of release quality. I mean, we still had some decent releases, but it felt a bit shorter than last year. Probably because it was changed around because of the whole COVID thing.
It was like quality-wise, I think Assembly was actually pretty similar to last year, at least for the main demo compo. Like overall quality was roughly the same. So I was positively surprised about Assembly. I was kind of afraid that it would be like nothing good.
Yeah, we decided to make a mono track for the 4K because we thought it was live. Then when it became an online thing, it's like, okay, we're fucked. Everybody will notice. In a party environment, it doesn't quite make a difference. Oh, yes.
Talking about commercial tracks in demos, this track is commercial.
It's on Spotify?
It's
on
the album
vinyl.
is coming out. The album is coming out, I think, a couple of weeks from now. So this demo basically was the hooligan pinged me in July, like, hey, would you like to maybe try to make a music video for my first commercial release? And I was kind of like, well, why the fuck not?
Yeah.
vaporwave or synthwave all the way.
Yes, I tried to make this as cheesy as I could, but I could have added a lot more cheese.
I saw comments on Poet that this wasn't offensive enough.
Yeah.
I don't know why you should do an offensive demo to this soundtrack, but apparently some people thought that that would be.
The hooligan has a little bit of a reputation that he needs to be offensive. So I guess that's why.
Maybe.
I would like to know why it's called Specchio Uomo.
I don't know, ask Hooligan.
Yeah, I will.
I mean, that's the, like, something to do with the album and the record label and whatever.
Yeah.
And yes, there are naked female bodies here because that increases vote count and its assembly. The
So
same
is this
reason why
is this
the
age
Amiga Ball
restricted
is
on
here.
YouTube?
It's not.
No. But the Amiga balls are also there to get votes.
Because
And the
they're not
model.
real women. They're statues, obviously.
Yeah, they're statues, and then I did add male statues as well
To compensate.
after one person told me that the demo is actually kind of sexist.
And it's
gender-
true. I like
gender
that touch.
equality.
I like that touch actually because I was seeing the female thing and I was like, here we go, putting female bodies yet again. And then the male shows up. And I'm like, that's a nice way to counterbalance it. Just show both.
Yeah. Yeah, this demo also kind of like I followed the same concept I had in Euphrates, which is like no camera cuts, that it's just one single camera that follows the whole thing from beginning to end, just to see like how and if that can work some way.
Well, Specchio Uomo is Mirror Man, and then you have Mirror Women. But so it makes sense that you add male models as well.
I think Specchio Uomo or Mirror Man is the name of the record label.
Ah, okay.
But yeah, there are some like relatively big name artists on the album as well.
Such a commercial product. Are MFX complete sellouts now? Discuss.
Yes.
Did you get a copy for this work at least?
Of the album?
Yeah.
Actually, no. But Hooligan told me that we can keep the prize money.
Ah, okay. Does Assembly give actual prize money nowadays? Because I remember the good old days where you only would get fingerprint scanners.
I don't know. There should be something coming which might be a fingerprint scanner or not.
Thank you for reminding me about the fingerprint scanners.
You're welcome.
Actually, that reminds me, when those two came fifth at Assembly, we were supposed to get some like GPU or something as the fifth prize, but the company providing the prizes had miscalculated and Assembly didn't have the hardware to give us, so instead they gave us cash, and that meant that at Assembly 2001 the fifth place got the biggest cash prize at the whole party.
Winning. That's how you get them.
I think in euros it would have been something like maybe like 300 euros or 400 euros, something like that.
That's pretty good for 2001.
Yeah.
Speaking of winning,
Yeah, this was the winner demo, Ember Dream by Adapt. You guys been following Adapt throughout the years? What do you think of their evolution in terms of style?
They are growing up.
great guys, really original style. I think every demo I see is like a bit more coherent than the previous one, which is nice. I think the style is kind of like polarizing. That people either like it or don't.
Yeah, I mean, Adapt, it's one of those cool groups that actually has their own engine and does everything by themselves, which is a rare thing, or more rare nowadays in the scene. And yeah, I mean, Adapt demos tend to have the problem that there's too much on screen, or too much stuff going on that doesn't always fit together. But with this demo, they've really improved on that, and this is almost coherent.
My main issue with the DAP is actually not being memorable, because I feel they had like a very unique style, but if you would ask someone to describe what they just saw, it would be really hard. It was just particles, reflection thingy, something that looked like water. It's really hard to remember, and this one became a lot more memorable because of all the iconography and the 3D that it had.
And also they were not shadowed by ASD like all the other assembly parties. Because they felt for a while that you could really see some of the influences, and ASD was definitely one of them. And especially they were mostly releasing at assembly where ASD was releasing. So you could see them being like the cheap version of ASD for a while, and that didn't really help their reputation. But Deeper is a super cool guy. I commented to Nico that I think I met him during a trip to the party from Finland to Denmark, on the bus trip, and I think he just joined the demo scene. Maybe he was 16 or something, and he was the newcomer back then, and now he's one of the big guys.
Oh yeah, I remember when he was like a newcomer, and at one booth assembly we were talking about demo stuff, and then he actually asked me like that if he could join my then group as a coder, and I had to honestly tell him that, dude, I'm in a total choke group right now. We do only like random choke demos like once a year. You don't want to join us. You actually want to find a real group. And what do you know? He did.
Yeah.
but then you have like the other people in Adapt, like Bass Cadet or Legend, who've been around for ages.
True.
Like they were here before I joined the scene.
Yeah.
Legends.
Good stuff.
So these are all the demos that we had to watch today. I'm gonna play one more because I can, because I'm the host. This is what I do.
Use the power.
This is one of my favorite MFX demos.
Oh god, I just watched this a while ago and I realized how fucking horrible this is. Like,
Awesome!
all the like I made
So
every
simple and
design-
catchy.
I made every possible design mistake in the book. The soundtrack,
Photos of those young guys, so young.
the soundtrack is
Very
good.
catchy, yeah.
And oh boy, the party was something else.
The cold
I have
inside.
both fond and horrible memories of this party.
The cold, it was so cold. So what are your favorite MFX demos? Well, you were talking about that earlier. Do you have any particular favorite or ones that like bring you the best memories? Anything that we can still play now before we wrap things up? If we missed them.
I think
I'm asking both you guys and the people on the chat. But
Chromiset.
please. Chromiset? You might have Chromiset somewhere.
Chromiset CNET is one of those like ones which I also really liked. I actually didn't even work on that one that much. That was mostly Curly Brace doing that. Of the ones that I've like done more like by myself, I think like personal favorites are We Belong to This and Cyclop. those are kind of like they have like a special place in my heart for myself.
Okay. People are voting for Molotov on the chat. Of course they are.
What a
because,
fraud.
because they're all
Which
nerds.
Molotov?
Nerds that only. That's a good question because there were two, weren't they? We have Molotov.
There's the
They want the porno
Yeah,
version, obviously, but there is another one.
we have Molotov is the one which has porno if you had porno on your hard drive, and Molotov
Which means it
minus,
has porno, because everyone
Yeah.
does.
and Molotov minus is just porn. But that's
Oh
a big
yeah,
deal.
that one. Wasn't that released in one of the Simulatio parties? In the Wild Compo?
Could have been
was
because that was
Duet.
when we actually had Molotov.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna play We Have Molotov. First, so I don't have the stream banned, and second, so to piss everyone off on the chat. You voted for it, you got it.
Democracy in action.
Yeah. First, let's watch Chromiset CNN. So, why did you say? I remember playing this one a lot back in the day, and why did you say this one was relevant to you?
I mean, the rave feeling. I think I had the soundtrack on a tape in my car, and I played to every friend I was driving to home, and everybody liked the soundtrack, and so lots of car trips to this music.
Did I make this soundtrack?
Possibly.
I need to check the info file. I can't remember, but I may have made the soundtrack. I mean,
It
it's
up.
20 years ago, so...
Poet credit says you do, but then again, it has been wrong before. So
I think it's Nico.
I had a chance for these synth samples back then and still do.
Yeah, this is the classic Let's Get Brutal sound, which was used by Dave Clark and everyone else back in the day.
And yes, there's the Mika Häkkinen Zoomer, which was super hilarious.
Of course, there's a Mika Häkkinen Zoomer. Like, what self-respecting demo doesn't have that?
This demo was released. We had two demos at this party. We had this one and those one. And while the organizers were already showing those one in the compo, Curly was still compiling this one and copying this to a floppy, and then running to the organizers like, "Hey, we have one more."
double the demos, triple the excitement.
Yeah, well, we got second and first place, and there were other demos in the compo, so
How often do you guys go back to the old demos and watch them again? Not that often, I guess.
Mikko, someone on the chat is claiming that the original sample is from Inner City, but I think you had some information. confirming
Actually,
to that?
no. I'm pretty sure it's from Nitro Deluxe. Let's Get Brutal, but I might be wrong on this one. One of the early. It's the same sound anyway. Inner City used it a lot, so yeah, maybe I remember wrong. It was from them. It's possible. It's that one.
And yes, this is the
dog that is also a cow.
Yes, because this is a sequel to Vihreät Lehmät, which was a sequel to Keltaiset Sivut. This was our Three Colors trilogy.
And the
There was also that pretty neat How Job remix of this.
Yeah.
I think there they replaced the Mika Häkkinen Zoomer with Let's Zoom into my nose Zoomer.
Okay, let's take a look at those because we just talked about it.
We're now going to play you a piece of music. This track can be used by anyone who has a sound system, but it is intended mainly for professionals.
I also played this one a
Several
lot
rotating knobs on your amplifier
back in the
place
90s.
your speakers several meters apart and position yourself some
I feel like it
distance from the
features a whole vector-based system, which wasn't that
Yeah.
common back then.
to consult your dealer to prevent
Eventually, Flash came around and everyone started using vector graphics, but at this time, it wasn't very common that people used vector stuff.
Well, state of the art.
Well, yeah, state of the art. That's true. Was this inspired by state of the art in any way, Nico?
Yes, I believe it was. State of the art and maybe a little bit of D-Light.
Groove is in the heart.
Yes.
But I like the look of this because this and also like those two, it's kind of timeless. It's not like often you watch some super old demo, it has a super blocky end mapped 3D object, and you're kind of like, yeah, okay, it's old, but
position yourself several meters apart.
this has aged well, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, too bad we ran out of time with this one, but we were
I
able
think
to
you made
make
up for it
with
with the sequel.
yeah, which was made in Linux. That's a famous Finnish weatherman.
This is where you get your graphics. Just go to the Finnish television, get Mika Hakkinen, get the weatherman.
The guy who was dancing or morphing before to the chick, I think the guy was Billy Zane, and the woman was some
And position yourself
semi-celebrity from the late 90s.
So it's all Finnish celebrities.
Well, Billy Zane isn't Finnish.
to prevent damage to your system several meters apart.
But I mean, he appeared in an MFX demo, so he's basically honorary Finnish now.
I think Curly chose all the graphics for this one.
Excellent soundtrack in this one. I remember this fondly.
Okay, so after this we have Molotov, so I'm gonna start to wrap things up. Thank you everybody for joining. Dixon, Break, and Uncle X, thank you so much for doing this MFX special. MFX is one of my favorite demo groups, so thank you so much for being here and allowing me to reminisce on all of these demos. We could really just do 2 more shows just focusing on MFX and they would still be awesome. Anyways, thank you guys for joining. Also, people on the chat for joining in. Also, thanks for my Patreon supporters who've been supporting me throughout the last years, trying to do more content on the internet. Garfield, Geoff Thornbrun, Paul John Popgit, El Topo, Fulcrum, Paul Falcão, Gert Wessendorf, Evil Gaspod, Branch VC Speaky, Seismic, and Krobby Sour. Thank you so much for your support. This is we have Molotov, and do you guys have anything else to add as we watch the best MFX demo ever?
Raimo of Unique was our test audience for this demo. We sent him the executable. He watched it. He asked us, "Hey guys, why is there so many pictures of Britney Spears in this demo?" Then a little bit later he went like, "Oh, fuck you guys." Well, one of the keywords we had was Britney, and for one reason or another, Raimo apparently had a bunch of pictures of Britney Spears on his hard drive.
Quality stuff.
Oh, big time.
But when this was shown in the compo, what was on the hard drive then?
I can't remember.
What
Other
party was
demos
this
probably.
even?
I can't even remember the party.
Stream 2003 got second
Oh shit,
place.
I was there, but I can't remember the compo. I guess we were drunk.
We were very, very drunk.
The winner was Glitch by Keulers.
That was a good one.
First stream ever at the school,
Yes.
where everyone was puking and the headmaster of the school was super angry at everybody. Oh yeah, this was that part.
Yes.
No wonder I can't remember the compo.
I'm actually surprised that you think that this is the best MFX demo ever.
No, I like Vanilla Rocker better. That's right.
That's not a demo, that's a wild entry.
No, it's really hard to have a favorite MFX demo. There are so many different ones. All of them have touch different veins in themselves, so it's really hard for me to choose. Even doing a top 5, even though a top 5 was totally hard. I was like trying to spam a little bit of this stream and doing like, tell me your top 5, mine are this, this, and that. I'm like, oh shit, there are a few more that I want to add here that I can't.
I don't know if everybody on the stream remembers that we actually had Molotov. Back then it was homemade booze by Nosfe. And
Actually, no, Molotov was made by Dead Meat,
oh, you're right, true.
the chemist. And yes, it says 96% alcohol. That was pretty much true.
It was good actually.
Apparently, no one went blind. That's positive.
Well, I mean, Dead Meat knows his shit.
Okay.
How much percent was it? Was it 80
96.
or 96? I remember
Yes.
tasting it and that you had to mix it with other stuff just
Yes.
to be
Yeah.
safe, which wasn't very nice. I just queued this because you guys were still talking. This is in fluorescence, so we can wrap up at any time. I don't know if you guys have any things that you want to say about inflorescence or about the demo scene or about the COVID plague in itself. So you have
I think I
4
already
minutes
mentioned
to
it.
do that.
I think I mentioned already that this is my favorite MFX demo ever. Of course, I had
Can you
nothing
tell
to do
us
with it, but
why?
I love it.
Is it because of the freaky tunnel?
One of the reasons, yes, I like freaky tunnels, but when it came out, it was kind of like it had a lot of this stuff which was kind of like, I'm not quite sure what I'm looking at, but it looks and sounds awesome. And I appreciate that in demos.
Sounded very scary.
Yeah, the atmosphere is like through the roof on this one.
Yeah, this was 1 in 10. I think at his prime when making this kind of like theatrical music, and also Pomak working on the effects. Like most of the effects are from Pomak, based on like the deep parallax mapping thing that was presented at that year's SIGGRAPH like some months before. So he just went through that and kind of like he wanted to be the first one to do like deep parallax mapping. Not sure if this was the first one that did it properly or not, but one of the first ones, I think. And yes, our revision demo was a sort of a sequel to this. At least the names are similar.
Sequel for marketing purposes.
Yes. Kind of like Piranha 2.
Or Zombie 2, I think that was also...
Feels very Giger.
So what's in the future for you guys? You guys working on any other stuff or any plans?
Well, I've been pestering Break to send me the new version of the soundtrack for the last 3 weeks, so maybe I'll use this.
Yes, but it still sucks.
opportunity.
Hopefully you get it soon.
I'm gonna use this opportunity with an audience to tell you to send me
Peer
a version
pressure.
of the soundtrack. To give
I
some
will.
peer pressure.
I will. I would be working on it right now if it wasn't for the stream thing, so I blame you guys.
The problem is the media creators. They stop you from being productive.
Yeah, you bastard.
What about you,
And
Dixon?
Well, I mostly depend on Nico for demos. Like I do music every now and then, not so much as in the past. I don't have that much spare time, and I mostly lack of inspiration. So basically I prefer doing soundtracks where Nico provides me with an inspiration, like why don't you try something like this, and then I have something to work for. And same goes for all my other groups and demo scene activity. So it doesn't really come from me. I prefer to work on commission, being challenged to do something.
All right, fair enough. Break, what's your next plan? Just doing music for Uncle X and hoping for the best?
Yeah, that's about it. And also, I actually would like to kind of get more into trying out some weird stuff with visuals, because I've done a bit of like small experiments with cables and stuff, because I'm also not I code for a living, but not like graphic stuff, so I'm not really much into coding my own 3D engine, but with stuff like cables I would kind of like to see what kind of weird shit I could come up with. But yeah, first I'm finishing that soundtrack, which is 3 weeks late. So.
Okay, fair enough. So I'm wrapping up. Thank you guys for joining once again. It was great to have you. See you next time. Bye bye, everyone. Take care.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
See you later.